At an industrial yard, a worker climbs onto a tanker truck while vapor vents from an open hatch. In seconds, a sudden pressure burst erupts from the tank, blasting upward and throwing nearby objects off balance. Work on pressurized tanks only after the system is fully depressurized and properly vented. Pressurized tanks store large amounts of energy within compressed gases or heated vapors. When a hatch or valve suddenly releases that pressure, the expanding gas creates a powerful upward force capable of throwing nearby objects or workers off balance. Pressure systems must always be stabilized before opening or accessing them. Stored energy can release instantly and with extreme force. At a crowded construction site, a worker climbs onto the yellow machine housing to reach equipment above. At the same moment, the excavator bucket swings down into the same operating zone. On a sidewalk beside a red flatbed truck, two workers try to manually lift a large metal cabinet onto the truck bed. As they raise it, the tall cabinet suddenly tips sideways off balance. Never manually lift oversized or top-heavy equipment without mechanical lifting support. At a roadside loading area, a pickup truck is stacked high with tightly packed mattresses while the tall load shifts during adjustment. Then the entire stack tips sideways off the truck. Overstacked cargo must be evenly balanced and properly restrained before anyone climbs or works on top of the load. When cargo is stacked high above the vehicle frame, the center of gravity rises dramatically. A small shift in weight or tension can create a tipping moment that pulls the entire stack sideways. Tall loads amplify instability. Secure, stabilize, and control the load before working around it. Outside a hospital driveway, an ambulance begins reversing along the curved road while the rear blind zone remains hidden behind the vehicle. Drivers must visually confirm the path behind their vehicle before and during reversing. Inside a small workshop, a machinist stands beside a running metal lathe while talking on his phone. In a moment of distraction, he steps closer to the spinning shaft. Workers should remain fully focused and keep hands clear of rotating machinery while equipment is operating. On a roadway, workers climb onto the top of a tanker truck to access the hatch. Suddenly, a massive cloud of vapor bursts out of the tank and spreads across the area, then ignites in a flash of flame. Never open or work on pressurized or volatile tanks without controlled venting and proper safety procedures. At a busy loading yard, a worker stands on the back of a truck, repositioning heavy stone slabs, when one massive panel suddenly shifts, sliding across the truck bed and throwing the load dangerously off balance. Handle large stone panels and heavy sheet materials using proper lifting support and controlled positioning rather than manual force alone. On a vehicle wash ramp, a pickup truck approaches slowly while a worker stands ahead guiding the driver. Suddenly, the truck accelerates forward and surges down the ramp toward the spotter. Drivers should maintain controlled speed and clear communication when approaching workers who are guiding vehicles. When a vehicle accelerates on a downward ramp, gravity and engine force combine to increase forward momentum quickly. With little distance to react, the vehicle's kinetic energy carries it directly through the worker's guiding zone. Vehicle guidance zones must stay clear of sudden acceleration. Slow, controlled movement is essential when workers are spotting. Inside a warehouse loading bay, several workers stand talking beside a stacker machine lifting a tall pile of plastic pallets. Suddenly, the towering stack shifts balance and begins to tip sideways. Workers should stay clear of elevated or stacked loads while lifting equipment is operating. Tall stacked loads raise the center of gravity of the lift system. When the load becomes unbalanced or shifts forward, gravity creates a tipping moment that can cause the stack to fall. Suddenly, stacked loads can become unstable without warning. Always keep distance from raised materials and lifting equipment. At a dockyard, a crane begins lifting a full-sized boat with wide lifting straps placed beneath the hull. As the vessel rises, one rigging point slips loose and the suspended load suddenly shifts in midair. Avoid lifting a boat or any suspended load until every sling, lifting point, and balance angle has been fully checked and secured. A suspended vessel must remain evenly supported from the first inch of lift to prevent sudden load transfer or uncontrolled movement. A suspended load stays stable only when lifting forces are shared correctly across all rigging points. If one strap slips or loses tension, the center of gravity shifts immediately, forcing the remaining support points to carry uneven load and causing the suspended vessel to swing or drop unexpectedly. Suspended loads rely completely on rigging integrity and balance. Verify strap placement, confirm equal support, and never rush the lift. In a narrow construction lane, a worker stands between two vehicles seconds before one of them starts to move. Mid-afternoon on a city street, under repair. Barriers line a fresh pavement cut while a dump truck idles near the curb and a van sits just ahead. Between them, a worker moves casually as the driver, high in the cab, cannot see the area directly below the hood or near the front bumper, and no spotter is present. The truck eases forward. From the cab, everything seems clear, but the worker remains just out of sight, hidden by the orange barrel. The wheel nudges ahead before the operator halts, realizing too late how limited the view was. Never, ever stand or work in front of or behind a truck without clear eye contact and acknowledgement from the driver. Heavy vehicles move slowly but blindly. Always maintain visual or radio communication before approaching or crossing near trucks. Don't forget to share what you learned today in the comments. Your insight could save a life. Take care.